Hey everybody, welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and this is not the type of subject I typically do on this channel, but I saw this news, and I saw a lot of media and a lot of people not really talking about this news, and I want to talk about this news. And I'm so grateful that I have Christopher Melcher, attorney at law, here to help me wade through this topic. It's a tough one. It's a very polarizing one for many, but I stand on the side of women's rights, and I feel like some women are not going to be happy with this news, and I don't believe this is, I believe this is going backwards, and I'm really scared about what this precedent is, so I wanted to bring in, have a conversation about this where we could sort of break down what this new law is and what's happening. So for those of you who are in the dark on this, I also got to be careful of using certain keywords at the beginning of this video. It's why I'm stalling a little bit, because of the way the YouTube algorithm works. Dear human reviewer, I hope you will let this go through, because this is a very important topic, and we're going to be very careful to not cross any community guidelines or use any words or things that would cause any trouble. Christopher and I are both aware of walking that line. In fact, we're going to call it the A word just to avoid saying it over and over again. But here it is. Texas law has now banned the A word before many women know they're pregnant, that they're pregnant would take effect. Basically, they've last night they put in a law that's now effect that if you cannot have an A word after 6 weeks. Now, 6 weeks, Christopher, is really, really extreme. Most women don't even know they're pregnant at that point. Most scientists and people who would argue this, I don't want to get into debate about, where the life begins and this is not about the debate of is the A word right or wrong. That's for you guys to decide at home. But there's a lot of debate and scientists and people saying it's usually at least the third trimester until, a fetus can feel things, etc., which is about 27 weeks. So a 6-week ban saying anything after 6 weeks is extremely extreme, correct?
Yeah, we haven't seen anything like this before, and it's a radical shift in law. And so just kind of backing up a little bit, that there is this constitutional right over women's reproductive freedom. And that was established in Roe versus Wade in 1973. And there's a balancing between the government's interest in protecting life versus the individual, the woman's right over her body. And so in Roe versus Wade, they put that up on a scale and balanced it. And they came down in 1973 to say that there's a point of viability where this unborn child they considered wouldn't be viable. And maybe that's around 22, 24 weeks or so of the pregnancy. And so the woman could choose before that viability period. And that's the law that we've been operating under. And then the United States Supreme Court, in a case called Casey, said that government cannot put undue burdens or restrictions on that right to choose. So this is something that's well ingrained and has been going on. The debate is fierce on both sides, and I respect both sides of the debate. But this law is scary. This goes beyond anything that I could have imagined and how quickly it's happening. I am literally scared at the effect of this and how it's going to change the rights of women in Texas.
Right, because as you just said, most people have had the choice up until 24, 27, like a decent amount of time to make that choice, which is an immensely challenging choice for a woman and their partner to make together, and to have 6 weeks to decide. You may only have just found out you're pregnant, to now, not only, guys, this is so scary from not only the time thing that really affected me, but also the fact that now they can sue, correct, Christopher? It gets even more extreme in that there can now be lawsuits after. Can you explain a bit of that?
Yeah, I want to definitely, that's the scary part of it. But before we move off this 6 week point, we have to realize that a woman may not realize that she's pregnant
right.
6 months after conception.
6 weeks.
So
6 weeks.
6 weeks. I'm sorry, 6 weeks. She may not even realize that. And so say she does realize it at week 5 and a half, you're now giving this individual almost no time to make a decision that is extremely serious. I mean, like you say, you want to talk to their partner about that, family, there may be religious consultation.
Yep.
Whatever is happening needs to be done. It's a very serious personal choice. And now to say, well, hey, you've got a couple days now to make that decision so that they can legally do it in Texas, you are harming people by this law. The law that's trying to protect the unborn child is now harming, for sure, the woman that is forced to choose something under such strict consequences. Now, on the issue of lawsuits,
and just to echo, because I want to echo it too, and I share a bit more of my feelings. It's to force someone to have that child when they're not ready can be such a detriment to the child as well. I'm a firm believer in adoption, and I hate how some people use this as sort of a contraception. There's a lot that needs to be discussed. That's why I think this is an important conversation that we should be more open about and hear each other's sides and why it's important. But to force someone that quickly to make that decision when they may not be ready, and then force them into parenthood, and then maybe not raise that child right, that can cause such ramifications that's so scary and not good for a child, not good for the mother, not good for so many people involved, that I want to echo your worry there. It's really making my blood boil what this is going. But let's get even more frustrated, Christopher. So explain the legal aspect as well.
Yeah. So what's different about this, because certainly there's been people who have been trying to control, restrict, or abolish this whole process for a long time. But what they did in Texas that's unique is basically deputize individuals to go out and sue medical providers and clinics and put a bounty on their head to say that if a clinic is believed to have violated this new law, we in Texas are encouraging them to go out and sue these providers, and that if they win, they get a $10,000 bounty plus their legal fees. And here's the other catch that makes it totally draconian. If the doctor wins and said, hey, I didn't violate this law, what are you talking about? I went through a trial, I proved that I followed the law, the doctor doesn't get their legal fees. So it's a free roll for anyone. And this doesn't, in the law, is allowing any citizen. So it doesn't have to be the boyfriend or the husband or some other family member that would have a direct interest in whether this child was born or not.
They're
no,
saying
any
exactly.
Citizen.
They literally said this article: an Uber driver taking a patient to a clinic are all potential defendants. That's terrifying.
It is, and there's not even the traditional exceptions to this law that we've seen before. So it is extreme. We've never seen anything like this before. It's definitely going to stop any of these procedures in Texas. I mean, just complete ban until the court can get involved. Right now, they're not getting involved. But as of today, the court is not going to stop this.
So a lot of people are going to be really upset. Some people won't. Some people will think this is a drastic measure that's needed, and that is what it is. But for those that are concerned, what can we do, or what can we hope is still a possibility here to potentially stop this law from happening?
So last night, the United States Supreme Court had the opportunity to put a stay on this and say that we do not want this Texas law from taking effect. So the U.S. Supreme Court could have done that last night, but decided not to. Now, that doesn't mean that the United States Supreme Court is condoning this or that is going to never get involved and never stop it. It just said we're not going to, on a temporary or emergency basis, put a hold to it. Now, that is a complete departure on how things have happened previously. Usually a law anywhere close to this, the United States Supreme Court would say, no, time out, we're not letting this take effect. We'll have a full hearing on it, but we're not going to let this go forward in the meantime. But here they said, hey, go forth. Now, and that reflects a change in the composition of the court. And you know that the President of the United States appoints these or nominates these Supreme Court justices and are confirmed by Congress. And under President Trump, he was able to get 3 replacement justices in there, which changed the composition of the court. And we can't do anything about that. Even if somebody retired now, a justice of the Supreme Court, President Biden would get to nominate a replacement. But if that was a justice on the liberal side of the court, he would replace with a new liberal justice, and that would be neutral. So it would only be if one of the conservatives on the court left that President Biden could actually make a change. He has come out, President Biden, and made a statement saying this Texas law violates our constitutional rights. And so he's definitely coming out swinging against this, but it's not for the government, the federal government, to decide. It's on the executive level where he operates. It's for the judicial branch, the United States Supreme Court, to decide. And we have the justices that we have on that court. That's not going to change.
Well, unless he packs the courts, which has been a whole ongoing debate as well, of whether they would potentially try to add more justices to the court, which Biden seems to be hesitant to do. But it does seem like if this starts getting serious, I don't know, maybe that is something they'll consider doing, which opens up a whole nother can of worms, because then when does it end? Each side can just keep adding more to get what they want. It's a scary time we live in, Christopher, and to women out there especially. This is something I want to make sure you were alerted of. It's scary. Now, this is a Texas, so you can also just move out of Texas, right? Is one solution if this is really going to scare you or bother you, right? So people could still move out of this state and perform it elsewhere, correct, Christopher?
Well, sure, and I don't know. I haven't looked at that detail of the Texas law SB 8 to see if there's some kind of prohibition about going outside the state. We saw that many years ago before the Roe versus Wade decision, where they would try and punish women for going out of their home state to get these procedures done. So it's, we don't know. And then now that the Supreme Court has said, hey, we're not going to get involved in this on an emergency basis, that emboldens now other conservative states to say, well, hey, I'll just create my law too, because we got a green light. So we may see other states. There's Missouri has, and it's under challenge, but also a highly restrictive law Mississippi, that's being I think it is Missouri, that's being challenged also. So we may see other states come out and just make an identical law because the U.S. Supreme Court said, hey, we're not getting involved in this one at the moment. So now maybe other states just copy and paste into their state law. And I understand, like I say, there's two sides to every issue, and there's a lot of passionate debate on both sides of this issue. But to me, we're talking about controlling a woman's body and all these other effects about children who are born under circumstances that are not ideal. And I think that we got to think through these things and understand the impact of these laws, and not just say, well, hey, it has to be this way, because there are so many other bad consequences that happen when we do things like that.
Right, and just another thing as I'm reading, catching up, this was added. This was decided as part of the court's shadow docket without the full briefing or oral arguments, it's all before this Mississippi case, which is what's reopened the Roe versus Wade decision, which the Supreme Court will be looking into in its next term, which is what a lot of people have been worried about. And so, look, this is a scary time for women's rights. Is what I really don't like all these. I just don't know why all these men feel the need to make these decisions for women. I don't understand it at all. I'll never understand it. And I don't understand so many people defending the decision of that. I understand there's religious and other reasons why, for the A word, of why so many people are a certain way or not. But at the end of the day, women should have the right to choose whether they have a child or not. And I think that's something I have no problem expressing. For those of you who disagree, I hope you can at least see that some of these charges are pretty extreme, and that I think is what we really need to focus on and figure out why. 6 weeks, these lawsuits, these are really, really scary things that are going to open up the door for a lot of other scary places that I don't think is going to help any child or the mother. Christopher, any final words or things you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think look, this is an important issue, and And I know that it's going to inflame a lot of people on either side of it. And I'm just hoping that we can have a respectful debate about it in the comments. And
Yes.
I do look at these comments, and I, trying my best to respond to these late at night when I'm off work. But, the purpose of us discussing it is just really getting it out there so people know, because yes, we're seeing it in some news feeds, but it's really not getting the exposure that I would think it would. So I'm hoping that we can open up the debate and follow this story and hopefully see some changes made here by the courts rather than the inaction that we saw last night.
Yes, thank you for Christopher alerted me to this. I didn't even see it, and so I'm glad he did, so we could talk about this. I know not the type of topic we typically talk about here, but hey, we talk about whatever I want. And at this point, I love whatever Christopher wants to talk about as well, because I love asking a lawyer, a real lawyer, especially his intelligence and calmness. He keeps things very in the middle, and I really appreciate that. I hope you guys too. If you want to hear more from Christopher, please go support his YouTube channel as well at #TheLaw, CCMSES. Oh, you finally got the URL. I just CCMESQ. You can check it out there on YouTube. Go support him. Christopher, always good to talk to you. We will have another video. Today is the day of tough topics. R. Kelly also on docket today, so stay tuned. I hope you'll watch that one. If you haven't already subscribed, please do, to help get the algorithm and everything on this video and everything going. Hit the bell, hit the like, leave a comment. It all helps to make sure this message gets out so people can know. I'm sure we won't be monetized on this. I have no problem with that. This is an important one that needs to get out, but it just helps if you guys share the video, because otherwise YouTube will just shadow ban this video and this topic like it seems like they're doing all across the media. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on Popcorn Planet.